Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Basich, Associate Director with the Automotive Group at Counterpoint Research. I'm here with my colleagues, Murtuza Ali, Senior Analyst, Counterpoint, focused on ADAS and autonomy, and my colleague Soumen Mandal, who's focused on digital cockpit and software-defined vehicles. So we're here at IAA Mobility 2025, and the show has presented a lot of major trends that we're seeing in the automotive industry, especially that are affecting the European automotive market. But their global implications, simply because the number of automakers present at the company was at this event was a good mix of some European automakers and also many Chinese automakers. So, in one of the areas that you focused on at this event was looking at the Chinese automakers and what they were showing. Can you talk a little bit about what you saw at this year's event?
Yep, thank you, Greg. So this year we have seen more than 100 players coming from China to attend this IAA Mobility. So this is reflecting similar trend what we see in the sales of Chinese car makers in Europe. So we have seen, as per our counterpoint data in H1 2025, we have seen Chinese automakers sales share in Europe increased from like 7% last year H1 2024 to 12% H1 2025. So on a similar note, we have seen lots of Chinese automakers, including BYD and GAC Ion, Chang'an, Leapmotor, Xpeng. So they not only like showcase their vehicles, right? They also showcase their other products. Like we have seen Xpeng, GAC, they are showcasing their eVTOL, right? And also they are showcasing their robots. And Leapmotor also showcase their upcoming platforms with solid state battery usage. And besides those, these automakers are not only coming into this European market. So initially these automakers used to sell in Europe only, but now they are collaborating with these European players to make the overall improve overall experience of car. So they are partnering with tier 1 suppliers, so also technology players. So that is good for overall automotive industry. And we have also seen as Chinese automakers are coming out of China to Europe, so they are also bringing their partners to Europe. So we have seen all the major like battery manufacturers, like whether it's CATL or Gosun or Eve Energy or Calvi, they are having both. And even also like not only like Chinese automakers, also like European automakers like BMW, Audi, they are partnering with for new model launches. Like we have seen BMW to launch iX3 with partnering with Chinese battery makers, and same Audi e-tron Q6L that was made partner with Europe Chinese battery makers. So that's why what we can say, now we are seeing more collaboration rather than selling products in Europe from Chinese automakers, which I think is a good sign. And for how automotive industry is changing, it will be good to make a better product for collaboration in future. Thank you.
That was a great update, Soumen. Like you rightly said, they're not just the cars that are coming here, the ecosystem that they bring together, be it from tech suppliers, be it from tier 1 suppliers from China, are really shaping how I think I've seen probably more than ever Chinese suppliers in the exhibitions. So that's a very interesting observation.
Speaking of a lot of the suppliers and a lot of the Chinese suppliers, one of the things I noticed is there are many in the ADAS space. Can you talk about some of the Chinese suppliers in the context of the ADAS segment, as well as some of the trends you're seeing in ADAS at IAA Mobility 2025?
Sure. I'll take the trends bit first, where really in this IA we are seeing that autonomy in ADAS is really center stage. A lots of announcements, but also lots of ecosystem players exhibiting. So, and this is across from the SoCs to the sensors to even the software platforms and stacks that we're seeing a lot of exhibitors demonstrating. I mean, one of the highlights of the show was the BMW iX3 launch, which was a true coming of partnership with Qualcomm. So in this, it's two and two have added a lot more than the sum of it. And what we see is that through Qualcomm's partnership, BMW has actually launched a world-class product in the L2 Plus segment, But at the same time, Qualcomm has developed the right pilot, which has allowed it to open its doors really for more collaboration with OEMs. It now really is a full system supplier as far as ADAS is concerned, and can roll out this very efficiently in a short space of time for other OEMs. So that kind of partnership is really playing out well. But also from the Chinese ecosystem players, there's a great presence that we're seeing. For example, there is Momenta here, there is Horizon Robotics, Black Sesame. These are quite significant Chinese players who are now actually trying to win European customers as well. So from a SoC perspective as well, we're seeing players like Mobileye launching their surround ADAS, which is going to roll out into Europe at a very on a mass production level, at a very efficient cost. But on the other hand, they're also targeting L3 and L4 through their drive and chauffeur offerings. And there was a Volkswagen ID Buzz on their stall with L4 capability as a robotaxi offering. It was pretty impressive to see that it's now here and in Europe. On the other hand, when we see the Chinese players like Horizon Robotics and Black Sesame, they are also having, they have big stalls, big booths with a lot of activities. They're quite busy when you go there. And similarly, they've also brought in a number of sensor suppliers as well. For example, 4D imaging radar was quite prominent. There was a number of suppliers. I actually got an opportunity to sit through drives of a couple of them, and you could see how the technology is enhancing the perception, improving the safety case, because that is going to be critical for success in the West and in Europe for ADAS level 2 plus and beyond, because of how the regulations are and the safety case with it. So we're seeing those kind of suppliers coming and enhancing really the ADAS ecosystem. We also, from a software perspective, we've seen Qualcomm was an example where they've developed in collaboration with BMW the right pilot, but we are also seeing, for example, Momenta offering similar software platforms that they would like to collaborate with European partners. So the whole idea is that at the moment there is a modular software platform, but they're already that learning from the software platform. Players like Qualcomm, NVIDIA, but also Momenta talking of applying end-to-end, and even visual language algorithms. So they are trying to use this modular approach to strengthen the safety case that allows them to kind of go into end-to-end and VLA, because the crux for European OEMs is that they provide the safety case, the validation, and that is possible through this approach. Otherwise, it becomes too much of a black box for them. So from my perspective, the ADAS and autonomy, huge amount of action, and we're going to see a huge number of announcements as well in the coming days, with a lot more rollout of L2 plus and beyond features in cars.
Yes, speaking of ADAS and autonomy, obviously AI plays an important role in ensuring these vehicles can operate autonomously and safely. This also relates to the transformation that we're kind of seeing in the industry, looking at AI and how it applies to other areas, specifically generative AI. So one of the other key trends that we're seeing at this event is Agentic AI and how it can be applied in a lot of different use cases. Mostly in cockpit, we're also seeing Agentic AI being used and demonstrated in many types of tools for software development and vehicle development in general. Looking at the in-vehicle use case for Agentic AI, one of the main themes that came across from the different companies making announcements at the event, for example, you had Qualcomm's partnership with Google, where Qualcomm as integrating Google's automotive Agentic AI with their Snapdragon chipsets and adding various other software features to it to ensure it's a great experience. But one of the key things that came out of that was the idea of having not just a single agent, but sub-agents, where you have an orchestrator that is sending the user's prompt based on what they're asking for, what they're looking for in terms of controlling in-vehicle functions, or asking about, say, something outside or information related to their destination. And the orchestrator will route the prompt to the specific sub-agent model that's either running locally on device in the actual vehicle itself, or potentially in the cloud based on the nature of the request. And this wasn't just something that we saw with Qualcomm and Google. Obviously, AWS showed this as well. There were just essentially a number of different companies that are focused on this idea of having an orchestrator and then agents, sub-agents, in order to handle different types of user requests. Beyond that, I think when it came to AI, we also saw AI integration with a lot of different tools, a lot of different development tools. It was pretty much across the board when it came to development tools. But one of the other major reasons they're doing this is automakers, of course, trying to speed up development. I think the pressure that we're seeing from the Chinese automakers in terms of their very, very rapid development cycles, this means that legacy automakers, traditional automakers that have had very strong brand presences over the years and significant sales in many parts of the world, they realize that in order to compete in China and also to continue to do well in many markets, they're going to have to evolve and speed up their development practices. So you saw a kind of a range of partnerships focused on this. Examples would include here in AWS forming a partnership with several other companies designed to shift development to cloud native or virtualized development. That was kind of a major theme. Also, there was the partnership between QNX and Vector, where they are integrating Vector's middleware and the QNX's OS in order to provide a pre-integrated platform that essentially handles a lot of the core functions for low-level software, OS, and middleware in a vehicle. So those are some of the kind of the key things we saw at IAA Mobility. It's been a great week and a really interesting event overall, showcasing a lot of the major trends that we're seeing in the automotive industry. And I'd like to thank my colleagues, Murtuza and Soumen, for giving us their perspectives on what we saw here at the show. All right, thanks so much.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.